China's much-advertised anti-stealth radar has just met its harshest reality check: real war. What Beijing sold as a stealth killer has instead become little more than expensive scrap scattered across Iranian radar sites. In January 2026, Tehran rushed to deploy the Chinese YLC-8B long-range surveillance radar, a UHF-band system promoted as capable of detecting stealth aircraft, such as the F-35 and even the B-2 bomber at hundreds of kilometers. Chinese marketing claimed it could spot stealth targets at roughly 350 kilometers and track ballistic missiles up to 700 kilometers away. On paper, it sounded like a technological miracle. In combat, it barely survived its first test. When US and Israeli aircraft launched coordinated strikes over Iran, the supposedly advanced Chinese radar network failed to detect or stop the attacks. Multiple YLC-8B systems were reportedly destroyed or neutralized during the initial electronic warfare assault, raising serious doubts about the real effectiveness of Chinese air defense technology. The irony is brutal. The radar that was meant to detect stealth aircraft was itself hunted down before it could even see them. Analysts say the radar simply collapsed under modern Western electronic warfare. US E-18G Growler aircraft, specialists in electronic attack, jammed and suppressed Iranian radar networks before stealth fighters even entered the strike phase. In the era of spectrum dominance warfare, the so-called anti-stealth shield proved frighteningly fragile. And this isn't the first embarrassment. Earlier in 2026, Venezuela deployed the Chinese JY-27 anti-stealth radar, another system marketed as a stealth hunter. Yet, during a precision US operation, the radar failed to detect incoming aircraft before the strike was completed, a humiliating replay of the same problem now seen in Iran. The pattern is becoming difficult to ignore. Systems promoted as revolutionary anti-stealth technology repeatedly collapse the moment they face real Western electronic warfare. China's radar industry claims low-frequency UHF systems can expose stealth aircraft by exploiting resonance effects in their airframes. In theory, that may work in controlled demonstrations. In practice, modern stealth aircraft are escorted by powerful electronic warfare platforms specifically designed to blind or destroy radar networks before they become a threat. The result on the battlefield is painfully simple. Instead of closing the sky over Iran, China's flagship anti-stealth radar ended up doing the opposite. It illuminated its own position and became the first target to die. Across several Iranian radar sites, the wreckage of damaged antennas and disabled sensor trucks now tells the real story. The stealth killer never even saw the killers coming. To the proud people of Iran, the hour of your freedom may be at hand. Stay sheltered and do not leave your homes. It is extremely dangerous outside, and bombs may fall across the country. What is happening now could become the only chance for real change in generations. The world watched in shock as US President Donald Trump launched a massive strike against the Iranian regime. Within hours, a multi-billion-dollar Chinese-built air defense network deployed across Iran was rendered nearly useless. Systems marketed as stealth killers failed to detect incoming threats. For years, the world had been told that Chinese military technology was becoming world-class, yet from Pakistan to Venezuela and now Iran, Beijing's hardware appeared to fail its authoritarian partners at critical moments. The campaign began when the United States launched Operation Epic Fury alongside Israel's Operation Roaring Lion. According to the White House, the foundation of the campaign was precise real-time intelligence. After months of tracking, analysts from the Central Intelligence Agency and Mossad identified a rare opportunity. Senior Iranian political and military leaders had gathered in centralized locations. Long before the first aircraft took off, Israeli operatives had already infiltrated Iranian territory. Covert Mossad cells reportedly established hidden launch sites inside Iran and positioned precision-guided weapons close to major air defense nodes. When the operation began, these forward-deployed weapons struck Iranian early warning radars, blinding the country's air defense network just as the main strike force approached. The opening phase was designed as a decapitation strike aimed at the leadership of the Iranian state. Israeli aircraft, already operating with near-total air superiority, launched precision glide bombs against strategic compounds. The strikes devastated key facilities and killed senior figures of the Iranian government and military, including the Supreme Leader Ali Khamenei and high-ranking commanders of the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps. High above Tehran, Israeli surveillance drones circled to conduct real-time battle damage assessment. With Iran's leadership structure shattered, the wider military campaign expanded rapidly. More than 200 Israeli aircraft joined U.S. naval and air platforms in coordinated strikes across the country. Instead of relying on traditional air-to-air combat, coalition forces used long-range precision weapons and stealth platforms. B-2 Spirit bombers dropped heavy bunker-penetrating bombs on hardened underground facilities, including nuclear sites near Fordo fuel enrichment plant in Isfahan. U.S. destroyers and submarines launched volleys of Tomahawk cruise missile strikes against coastal defenses, while long-range Israeli missions struck targets deep inside Iran, including an aerial refueling tanker at Mashhad International Airport. This physical destruction was synchronized with an overwhelming electronic warfare assault. U.S. airborne jamming aircraft saturated the electromagnetic spectrum, creating a massive electronic smokescreen that masked the approach of F-35 Lightning II and F-22 Raptor aircraft. At the same time, cyber attacks severed the digital links connecting Iran's radar stations to missile launchers. With communications cut and sensors blinded, Iranian missile batteries were forced to operate almost blindly and were gradually destroyed by coalition aircraft. The conflict was the culmination of a long crisis. Earlier clashes had already exposed weaknesses in Iran's air defense network, including its Russian-supplied S-300 missile system. Seeking a replacement, Tehran rapidly purchased Chinese systems including the HQ-9B and HQ-22, supported by long-range surveillance radars, such as the YLC-8B radar and JY-26 radar. Chinese engineers claimed these low-frequency radars could detect stealth aircraft because their wavelengths matched the physical dimensions of aircraft, such as the F-35 and the B-2, theoretically revealing them despite radar-absorbing coatings. On paper, the system looked formidable. The HQ-9B interceptor was advertised with high-speed missiles, long engagement range, and the ability to track dozens of targets simultaneously. Iran reportedly spent several $billion building this nationwide defense network, paying Beijing through complex oil for weapons arrangements to bypass international sanctions. But when the joint U.S.-Israeli strikes began, those theoretical advantages collided with the realities of modern electronic warfare. Coalition jamming systems overwhelmed the Chinese radars with wideband interference, leaving operators staring at static instead of incoming aircraft. Without reliable radar data or functioning communications, the air defense network fractured into isolated units that could not coordinate their response. The system also struggled to track low-flying weapons. Precision strike missiles and cruise missiles used terrain-following flight paths to bypass radar coverage, while waves of drones and electronic decoys saturated the system's processing capacity. Meanwhile, covert Mossad teams reportedly used small attack drones to destroy several radar installations from inside Iran, physically removing the eyes of the air defense network before the main attack even arrived. The collapse of the Chinese-supplied HQ-9B Shield AE allowed coalition forces to operate with near impunity across Iranian airspace. Within hours, much of Iran's integrated air defense network had been disabled, its radar stations destroyed or blinded, and its missile launchers eliminated one by one. The consequences for Iran were immediate and severe. With its leadership decapitated and its conventional deterrence shattered, the country faced a sudden vacuum of power and a profound crisis in its national security strategy. The fall of Ali Khamenei, who had dominated Iranian politics for decades, left competing factions within the government, the clerical establishment, and the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps struggling to determine the future direction of the state. The pattern is becoming impossible to ignore. From Venezuela to Pakistan, and now Iran, Chinese-made radar and air defense systems repeatedly collapse the moment real combat begins. Systems advertised as stealth killers, including the YLC-8B radar and the HQ-9B, were supposed to protect entire national airspaces. Instead, coalition stealth aircraft and cruise missiles flew straight through them. Analysts noted that despite massive investment in Chinese air defense technology, Iran failed to shoot down a single attacking aircraft during the strikes. The result was brutal. Billion-dollar systems reduced to burning wreckage within hours. The reason many analysts call these systems tofu weapons is simple. Like China's infamous tofu-dreg construction, the equipment looks impressive on paper but crumbles under pressure. Export versions often prioritize low cost and rapid production rather than combat testing and integration. Reports from battlefield analysis show software bugs, radar vulnerabilities to jamming, and serious integration failures between radar, command systems, and missile launchers. In modern warfare, the decisive factor is not just hardware but the entire kill chain. Satellites, electronic warfare, data links, and real-time targeting. When that ecosystem is missing, even the most heavily advertised radar becomes little more than an expensive antenna waiting to be destroyed. For China, the consequences could extend far beyond one battlefield. Beijing has spent years promoting itself as the world's third-largest arms exporter, selling military systems across Asia, the Middle East, and Latin America. But every failed interception in Tehran, every destroyed radar station, and every collapsed air defense battery damages that reputation. The wars in Iran and earlier incidents in Venezuela are sending a brutal message to potential buyers. Marketing brochures do not win wars. When the shooting starts, what matters is performance under fire. And in that test, many of China's flagship export weapons are starting to look less like cutting-edge technology and more like high-priced scrap metal.